Okay, so now we can start. Welcome, everyone. Uh, Thank you all for joining us for this evening session. Uh, we will be talking about a Beyond the BA job title, Career Moves That Matter with Mark Bruins. I am Adriana Silva. I'm the Community Director with IIBA UK for the London and Southeast community. And I have the utmost joy and to be with Mark and in the session and receive you all. Um, Before we start, I just would like to say a brief word about IIBA UK. We are, as many of you may know, we are the volunteer arm, let's put this way, of IIBA, and we exist in the community. We are run by BAs for BAs on a voluntary basis, and our main goal is to support the practice of business analysis and support practitioners in their development, networking, and other opportunities we can identify. And we are very happy to, and we are thankful to Mark for being able to be with us tonight, or in the evening for me here in the UK, and it might be other time of the day for you elsewhere. So thank you, Mark, and thank you, everyone. I would like also to, if you had previously registered for the previous session, I do apologize for the various types of technical issues we experienced. We were not able to clarify all those, but we are very happy that today things seem to be moving and working well. So fingers crossed, things will continue the same. We have in the session, today we are going to talk about, it's a practical session for professionals who are ready to redefine their trajectory, their careers, and no one better than Mark to support us with that. During the session, I will be passing on to Mark soon, but before I just would like to explain that Q&A is on, so please continue to interact via chat. If you have any questions in particular, please add them to the Q&A. And after Mark's presentation, he will be dealing with the questions in due course, okay? And so without further ado, I pass it on to Mark. Welcome, Mark.
Hello, Adriana. Thanks very much for having me on your very exciting webinar. Thank you, everybody, from joining us wherever you are in the world. We've some interesting people. I see Ireland and Arizona and people from everywhere, so that's really good for you to join us. This session is recorded. The recording will be available afterwards. Unfortunately, I'm not going to make my slideshow available afterwards, but to see the slides again, watch the replay. That's the whole idea. And you can ask questions as we go along. Hi from London. There we go, Magnus. Thank you. So ask questions as we go along, and then hopefully we'll have enough time at the end to answer questions. I can talk for hours and hours, but it's not about me. It's all about you. And I'm trying to pass as much value as I can in the designated hour. All right. Should I begin the slideshow, Adriana? Is that okay? Or did you want to okay, right. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to do quite a lot of screen sharing, quite a lot of screen swapping. So bear with me, please. Right. So the first slide is our welcome slide, and we're talking today about Beyond the BA job title, career moves that matter. I've got two screens in front of me. I've got one on the left, so if I keep looking that way, it's because I'm looking at my other screen. So please bear with me. Great. Like I mentioned, there's a Q&A afterwards, but first come, first serve. As you type the questions in, I will be able to see the questions. I've got my chat closed. I see a pop-up about somebody in London, Magnus. But don't type the questions on the chat because my chat is closed. It's too distracting, but I've got a Q&A, and maybe somebody would already write a question just so that we can all see that that is working. Right. So firstly, who am I? I'm 61 years young, 61 years old. I've got 42 years IT experience. So I started a long time ago. I've had 25 jobs in the past, 18 of them contracts. 15 and 8 of them in the UK. So as you can see, I'm a serial contractor. I've got a BCS certified, haven't done my IBA, still looking at doing my IBA, my CBAP. 10 years experience as a senior business analyst. I've also been a project manager. I'm certified in Print too. Unfortunately, not Agile. That was a bit after my time. I launched the company BA Masterminds in April 2019, and that's what I do. I mentor business analysts to elevate you in your career. So I help you to progress up the career ladder from junior BA to senior BA, thereby earning more money and securing that dream job of yours. Right. I've also been a university lecturer, first year students. I had 42 students, taught them business skills, had to write my own curriculum, and very, very involved with the IIBA. I'm connected with most of the presidents, the vice presidents, the treasurers around the world. It's been my passion to network and to connect. And I attended my first BA Summit in 2019. I spoke as a speaker in 2020 on the power of a mastermind. And then I was a track chair in 2023, where I had 7 international speakers under me. This year, I'm going to be speaking again. And we're going to be a sponsor. We're going to be a bronze sponsor. So BA Mastermind is going to have a table and setup and everything like that. And we're going to actually be one of the sponsors. I'm very, very involved with the IIBA, founder and owner of BA Masterminds. I've got 4 back office staff, and but everybody deals with me always. Okay. Why clarity is your greatest asset. So that's what we're really going to talk about today. We are going to talk about clarity. It's kind of like, either you're stumbling around in the dark, just going from day to day in your career, or you've got a fixed goal, fixed plans, and somebody to hold you accountable along the way, distinct action steps to attain your plan. Yeah. So we'll get to that in a little while. What I focus on is recruitment. That's what I focus on, securing you a high-paying job. So I don't train business analysis. I've done training since the 80s. I've done group training, one-on-one training. So I don't teach business analysis skills. If I see in your gap analysis that you require theoretical knowledge, then I pass you on to the IIBA so that you can do your CCBA and your ECBA, CCBA, and your CBAP to gain that theoretical knowledge, to give you that confidence that you know what you're doing in your role. Okay, so that's a very important thing. I don't teach business analysis. All right, let's go on to the next slide. So as I mentioned now, this is all about your gap analysis. So we look at where you are now, right now in your career, your current state, your as is. And I do that by reviewing your CV, having a detailed look at your LinkedIn profile, and specifically around the education, certification, experience, those type of things. And then we get on a call. It's called the career strategy call. And then I tease or elicit the rest of the information out of you, where you are now. And then we figure out, where would you like to be in 1 year from today? So we set long-term goals, medium-term goals, and short-term goals. Long-term goals is 3 years from now. Where would you ideally like to be in 3 years from now? And the reason why we set 3-year goals is to determine your 1-year goal. Where do you need to be in 1 year from today to know you're on track to achieving your 3-year goals, knowing that your 3-year goals might change? And then we focus entirely on your 2B, your future state, your 1-year goal. Okay, so and then your short-term goal is the start date of your new job. So most people come to me because I help them secure a higher paying job. They want to leave their job for whatever reason it is. Maybe they're in a contract and their contract is coming to an end or has come to an end, or they're in a permanent job and they just feel, they're not progressing their career. They're in a bit of a rut. Maybe they have a new line manager and they don't get along with their line manager. Maybe there's some politics issue. Whatever it is, maybe they've been asked to come to the office 4 times a week and they don't want to. They want to, have the lifestyle and be more remote working. Whatever it is, we document it in the gap analysis. All right, so that's kind of like the first start. I will be talking more about the gap analysis in a little while, but so far, let's move on with the slideshow. Right, so this is a screenshot from our website, and this is how it looks on our website. So now I think it's going to be a good time for me to change over and actually go into the gap analysis. So the URL is bamasterminds.co.uk/gap analysis. And then I made an introductory video, very short, 3 minutes, and you can find out everything there is to know about, your gap analysis. And then when you're ready, you can click start and you can start your analysis. Let's do it now. Okay. So it's basically in sections. And so the first part of the section is, where are you currently? So at the moment, we only support students in these areas. So if you hit other, you're going to bomb out of this straight away. So let's say you're in, I saw somebody was in America, Arizona, right? Adriana, let's say that person is filling in the form. And now we also only take on students that have got a degree. Or a 3-year diploma. So not a 6 months diploma or a 3 months. So either a degree or a 3-month diploma. Please don't hop off the call because you don't qualify. You're still going to get a lot of value in today's call. So if you say no, you're going to get bombed out. But if you say yes, and then you move on. What is your current job title? Either you're a BA, not currently working, I'm not working, whatever it is, and then just go through all those different questions. So let me warn you, it is long. There are about 22 questions, I think. There's 3 ways that you can answer them. They prompt for answer. It's either like that little radio button that I chose, or you've got multiple buttons that you can select multiple at a time, or you've got a text input box. So what happens is, you click on the link, you watch the video so you know what it's all about, and you complete your entire assessment, your quiz. And then I get an email straight away on my phone, if it's after hours, on my computer. I work from home, so I'm all the time busy. This is what I do full time. I'm very passionate about what I do. So I work after hours and things like that. So I'll look at it and then I'll know and I'll set the wheels in motion. I'll get a warning, not a warning. I'll get a notification via email that somebody has completed and submitted their gap analysis. And we've got a SOP, standard operating process, standard operating procedure. We work on them all the time. We've got templates and we've got SOPs and we've got processes and we've got rewards and punishments in this company, just to make sure we do things on time. We've got SLA, service level agreements. So within 2 working days, you will get your full gap analysis with action steps to move forward. So that's basically how it works. Give it a go and see what you think of it. I do have to remind you though, if you're in a browser like Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge, and then you answer the question and maybe you answer the wrong one, and then you get thrown out, there's cookies on your computer. So the computer remembers if you rerun the gap analysis, you're going to get bombed out straight away. You can't really restart because then you're cheating in a way. So perhaps you can do the workaround. The workaround is Google Chrome Incognito. Right click on the icon, launch Google Chrome Incognito, and then do it that way. So if you open up another window afterwards in Incognito and you go to gap analysis, you can do it again. And we will still, get it all submitted. So that's a little secret, a little trade secret. Okay, let's get back to the slideshow. Let's see where we are. My slides, there they are. Share screen, and I'm going to share my screen again. So let's move on from the gap analysis. And now this is to help you to gain clarity, right? Once you've got clarity in your action steps, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And then it'll give you confidence. That's a very important thing to do, is to go through life and your career with confidence, know you're doing the right thing. A proven blueprint that you're following, for instance, okay, or a proven strategy on moving forward. Let's talk about moving forward. If you think you're in your comfort zone at work and everything's going great, and you think you're standing still in your career, you're very mistaken, because other people, other business analysts, other go-and-getters, they are advancing in their career. So relative to them, you're actually moving backwards in your career if you think you're standing still. Okay. Now, what you need to do is also in our 3-year goal setting, we look at your life goals and we look at your career goals. So let's discuss that for a little bit, because it's also great to see the bigger picture, the further. So in my opinion, if you've got a degree and you've got 2 or 3 years experience, paid experience working as a business analyst, and perhaps you're in your 30s or 40s or somewhere around there, you could achieve your long-term goals in 3 years. right? 3 years. People talk about 5 years and 10 years. No, 3 years with the right proven blueprint, with the right mentor, with the right attitude. Now, unless you want to go to Mars with Elon Musk or be an open heart surgeon, that's not going to happen in 3 years. But realistically speaking, you should be able to attain your long-term goals in 3 years. So we look at your life goals and we start on a very high level. I like to go in levels and work my way down to the fine print. So we start at the country that you live in. So that's where we start. Some people, live in the country that they were born in and they were brought up there and they lived there all their life. Other people immigrate and they come from another country into the country that they are. And then there's options. Maybe in 4 years they want to move on. Maybe they want to go to the UK, to the USA, to Canada. So we kind of look at that one first, a country, and then which city in the country, depending on their children. Do they have children? Do they need to go to private school, public school? Do they need to go to university? Do you need transport? So then we lock in a city, and so on and so on and so on until we scale down but it's very complicated how we get through there. But I've done it before, so it's quite easy to explain. Right. So that's and they need to be in alignment. Your personal goals and your career goals need to be in alignment. Right. This is a big one here because I have arguments with people over this, and I love it. So let me go through. So in your mind, when you see these three words, okay, this one is VS, which is abbreviation for versus, VERSUS. I know it's supposed to have a dot, but let's just move on. So permanent versus consultant versus contractor. So let me break that down in my opinion. This is my opinion. If you're working for a company and your job title is business analyst, and you have got an annual salary and you do business analysis work internally for that company, then you're a permanent member of staff, and that's called a job. Now, you could be working for a company on a permanent basis with your job title business analyst, but you don't do any business analysis work internally for that company. They outsource you on an hourly or daily rate. That's called a consultancy, and you'll be a consultant. And then like PricewaterhouseCoopers, Deloitte, TCS, those type of companies. So you'll be a consultant. So while we're on the subject, in my opinion, again, consultant is not a job title. I've seen so many people with a job title, business analyst consultant. No, consultant is the kind of work that you do. It's the structure and the format of the company that pays your salary. It's a consulting firm. You're just a business analyst. Okay. So I've seen technical consultant. That is absolutely meaningless. We need to choose a job title through which you're going to get headhunted. And if your job title is business analyst, then that is your job title. Senior business analyst, junior business analyst. Okay, the last one, so that's perm, that's consulting. The last one is if you see a job description, advertised position, and it's for a BA and it's 6 months in duration and it's 400, 500 pounds a day, that is a contract, and then you'll be a contractor. So that's kind of like my definition between the three. You're welcome to have your own thoughts. I like to debate about that, but that's what I'm thinking. All right. Now, this is probably the most important part of this entire webinar. So let's stay focused for this little part. Is anybody asking any questions? Because I don't see any questions. I see a chat. Thank you. Hello from Winnipeg, London. Okay. So no questions yet. Let's move on. Okay. 5 choices to consider when selecting your 1-year goal, your medium-term goal, and your short-term goal. Your next job, what does that look like? The job thereafter, what does that look like? Firstly, what sector do you want to work in or don't you want to work in? There's 2 sectors, public sector, private sector. The public sector is government. So that's maybe the traffic department, the fire department, the whatever. Okay, and hospitals maybe fall under there, some public hospitals or something, right? That's a sector. The private sector, that is where there are. Okay. Thank you, Matthew, for asking a question. Everything's working fine. Adriana, I can see the questions. Okay. So the private sector is for profit. You either have owners of a company and they want to make a profit, or you get shareholders and it's listed on the stock exchange and they want to make a profit, which means people are accountable. Let's take the role of a project manager. If you're a project manager in the public sector and you say to your line manager or the business sponsor, can I have £5 million in 3 years to do this project? They say, great, go for it. When you come back and you say, oh, 3 years is past, can I get another 2 years and another 7 million? They'll say, yeah, great, here we go. Why? No one's accountable. It's taxpayers' money, right? In the private sector, if you go and ask for £5 million in 3 years, they'll say, no, we'll give you 2 years and £2 million, off you go. And then if you come back and you want to ask more money, you get fired because you're rubbish at your job. You estimated wrong or you calculated wrong. So people are accountable in the private sector. People aren't really, another thing is that I've noticed, because I've worked in both sectors. I worked for the Leeds City Council, just north of London. And there, basically, people are in their comfort zone. The only way they can get a salary increase is to get a promotion. So I've worked before. My last paid job as a senior business analyst contractor, I was reporting to a program director. She only got there not because of her certification or experience, but she's been there 11 years and they had to promote her to give her a salary increase. But so that's the difference between the sector. So choose your sector wisely. Basically, if you're serious about your career, serious about elevating your career, climbing the corporate ladder, consider going to the private sector rather. Okay. Next is your job title. So every job goes with a job title. We get a plumber, an electrician, an Uber driver, a project manager, a product owner, a business analyst. Every job has a job title. You need to decide on your job title because all the advertised jobs on LinkedIn and Indeed and JobServe and all those type of portals, they all advertise as per the job title. Technical business analyst, agile business analyst, business process analyst, whatever it is, it all goes by the job title. So if you're choosing, I speak to people and they are applying for jobs and I say, besides a business analyst role, what other roles are you applying for? Oh, I'm applying for a project manager role and a product owner role as well. And I say, how many CVs do you have? Just one. Doesn't work like that. Your CV, if you're applying for 3 different jobs, you need 3 different CVs. So if you're a business analyst wanting to secure a business analyst role, your CV needs to scream that you're a business analyst. Okay? You can't talk about business analyst, project manager, product owner. That's a jack of all trades, master of none. You want to be focused, so you need to get that dialed in. Step 3, and after the 5 steps, I'll take some questions. So step 3, the domain or industry that you would like to work in. So that could be financial services, insurance, banking, oil and gas, telecommunications, transportation, online gambling. You need to have a look at the different industries that you could work in, because when a job is advertised, you look at 2 things. Number 1, the roles and responsibilities. What will the successful applicant do if they secured their role? You need to be able to do at least 80 of those, otherwise you're wasting everyone's time applying for that job. And then underneath they have qualifications. What do you need to qualify for the role? It's maybe a degree, 3 years experience as a business analyst, your CBAP, and 3 years experience working in the banking industry. So the industry experience is very important. So if you figure out from your past in the gap analysis how many different years in how many different industries, and you have 7 different industries that you worked in, you can promote those industries, or you can say, I've got the ability to quickly grasp new concepts and new industries because I've worked in so many different industries. So that's what you need to choose. Now, choosing an industry is very difficult. So I usually suggest that you discount certain industries. So when you see a job description and it's for an industry you don't want to work in, then you just move on. Okay? For instance, online gambling. I think it's horrible. I think it's addictive. I think it ruins people's lives. I will never work in online gambling. Tobacco, alcohol, I won't work in those industries. I'm kind of like a Greenpeace person. I had a company called Eco Analyst where we determine your carbon footprint, water footprint and ecological footprint. So I won't work in oil and gas. They're taking all these precious resources out of the earth and just, blowing up with climate change. So that's the way to look at it. Which industries don't you want to work in? Also, if you've got no financial services industry knowledge, you've never worked in banking, don't try and get into banking in a permanent job or a contracting job. If you want to get into banking or an industry, then you need to work in a consulting role and then plead with your manager to please be placed in that domain at that end client, so you can gain that domain industry knowledge. That's the only way really to get that one, unless you've got a friend or a family member that can help you in. Whoops, spoiler alert. Next one is the niche or speciality. So if you want to be a business analyst and climb the corporate ladder and go from a BA intern to a junior to a BA, senior BA, principal BA, lead BA, whatever you want to climb the corporate ladder, then I urge you to first get your certification, preferably the CBAP, get a lot of experience, preferably 3 years or more, and become an all-rounder business analyst, even a senior business analyst. So when you see a job description for business analyst roles, then you know, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. Epic, use case, as is to be, business case, gathering of requirements, brainstorming sessions, technical documentation, whatever it is. We've got a list of 197 techniques that a BA could do, like CATWO and fishbone analysis and PESCO and Moscow and all. Rather become an all-rounder senior business analyst first, so that you can secure a job easily. And then and only then do you decide on your niche or your speciality. Something like Salesforce or SAP or Oracle or process improvement with robotic process automation, whatever it is, I'll help you dial that in, see where your interest lies, see what's available, and then you get theoretical knowledge in your niche, and then you gain practical experience and you pivot, and then that's it. So you don't have to change from being a senior business analyst to going into cybersecurity. You can specialize as a senior business analyst in cybersecurity or in the cloud, and you can do AWS. Or Dynamics, or whichever cloud you choose, Azure, so business analysts, we haven't always done data, but now it's quite expected that we do SQL extracts and pivot diagrams in Excel and, Power BI dashboards for management. So we do need to do a little bit about data, but you can specialize in data. So you can become a senior business analyst specializing in data instead of going the data analysis, data scientist route. Okay. And the last one is the job type. So that's what you need to plan. That's what you need to consider to determine your 2B. Okay, I'm going to read these questions. I'm going to put you through to Adriana so long, and I'm going to see if I can answer one of these questions so long, or if they can wait till the end. Adriana, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, well, we have 3 questions on the Q&A and 2 via chat. So if you would like to respond to some of those questions now, people, they seem to be very interested in digging in some points you mentioned, in particular in terms of changing sectors and so on. Is now a good time to respond to those questions? Would you like to start with the chat?
Yes,
with the Q&A.
I'm going to start with the Q&A right now. That first question, a lot of people probably want to know. So thank you for that, Adriana. Okay. I'm going to read the question. Can everybody see the question? I think everybody can see the question. It's about the BA contract market. All right. So I've been doing this for 6.5 years, running BA masterminds, helping people secure high-paying jobs. I also am a serial contractor. People come to me because they want to earn a lot of money. I've got students who are earning £1,200 a day. I've got one on 1150, 1,000, 960, 900, 875, 840. My gold masterminds are making a lot of money. They are not struggling to secure contract roles. Okay, so firstly, a long while ago, I tried my best with my back office staff who are really good with 4 Industrial Revolution techniques. I'm a bit old school for that. Like I said, I'm 61, but they're really good at ChatGPT and things. So they tried to find out data, statistics. Okay, so let's start in the beginning. There's 3 ways to secure a BA role. Okay, let's talk specifically about BA contracting, because I'm hoping that many of you are on this course so that we can earn a lot of money and pivot and become a contractor. There's 3 ways to secure a job. I'm not going to, we don't have the luxury of time to prompt you, but maybe you can think amongst yourselves already what these 3 ways are. The first one is the advertised job market. So jobs that are advertised on LinkedIn, Indeed, Read, all those portals that I've been through, they're advertised. Okay, so a company calls a recruiter and says, we need a business analyst, and they discuss the roles and responsibilities, the qualifications, the terms and conditions, and then they get shortlisted, they interview them and give them the role. That is the advertised job market. The other one is the hidden job market. I don't know if you've heard of the hidden job market. It's the opposite of the advertised job market. Jobs that are not advertised. How do you find out about them? Word of mouth. People you know. So now you're going to apply for a job as a business analyst contractor through Hayes IT, just saying a name here because most people will probably know Hayes IT as a recruiting agent in the United Kingdom. Sorry for those in America, you probably don't know them. So if you contact them and submit your CV and they have a discussion and they say, oh no, maybe they put you forward for an interview and either you don't secure an interview or you do secure an interview but you don't secure the role, Hayes IT have got your CV on file. So they do that sometimes. They fake a job to harvest CVs because they know that the market's changing, whatever, but every recruitment company's got a database full of prospect CVs. Okay, so now a company comes to the to Hayes IT and says, we need somebody. Here's the job description. They've got keywords in this, must do, as is, to be, work, all these type of techniques that a business analyst does, and maybe some industry keywords or maybe some niche keywords. They do a Boolean search on their database and CVs pop up that match the result. And they pick up the phone and they say, hi, Mark, I've got it's Paula here from Hayes IT. I see you submitted a job a long time ago. Do you have a moment to talk? I've got a really exciting job. Yes, I do. Right. Firstly, your CV is 3 years old. Can you send me an updated CV? Yes, I can. Okay, so a role has just come in, blah, blah, and then you get an interview and you get the role. That is the hidden job market, right? 70% of the BA contract roles in the UK are still secured through the hidden job market. What does that mean? The advertised job market, that's the rubbish jobs, the bottom of the barrel, the ones that nobody wants. That's what gets advertised. So if that's the only place where you're looking for jobs, you are going to find that the contract market is probably pretty flat. And then people are, 300 people, I don't know what indicators you use to see that the market's flat. Word of mouth probably. But if you apply for a job and within hours, then it's 250 people have applied, it's desperation, and that could also be a sign that the market's a bit flat. Okay, but here's the thing. So we started scraping data from 7 of the top UK job sites in March last year. We look for contract, perm, temporary, perm, temporary, part-time, contract, and intern, those 5. We collect the data every Thursday. We scrape the data, one of my back office staff, since March last year. We do it for UK, USA, Canada, South Africa. So for those 4 countries. So I've got that data. And the market isn't all that flat. There are still 2,000 odd jobs being advertised in the advertised job market. And if the hidden job market is 5, there's 7,000 jobs available in the contract market. Okay. But here's the thing. You've had your time to think. What is the third method of securing your next BA contract role? Anybody know? Right? Being headhunted. So that's what we do in our mentoring. We set you up to be consistently headhunted for your education, your certification, your knowledge, skills, experience, niche, domain, all those consistently headhunted for the rest of your career. I'm still being headhunted for jobs that I applied for in 2018, 2019. And the techniques have changed and we follow how they change. So that's setting it up. So that's the best way to secure a job. So why don't people contract? They're concerned about the risk factor of being out of contract. And then I say, remember furlough? Remember COVID? How many people lost their job there? Have you ever been in a company where they bought another company out and they restructured? What about downscaling and retrenching? A permanent job is not that secure as everybody makes out to be, right? The best one, in my opinion, is to, while you're working, make a lot of money doing the job that you love. If you're a permanent position or a consultant, they don't care about you, your goals, your vision, your vision board, nothing. If you're on the bench at a consulting company, they'll place you in a role as a project manager, a PMO, product owner. They don't care that you want to be a business analyst. When you're in a contract role, you choose if you want the contract or not. What do you want? A lot of experience in business analysis to convert your theoretical knowledge into practical experience in business analysis and your niche. So you look at a job description, and then if you don't want it, if it's not in alignment with your goals, you don't even apply. So it's 6 months, and if they add something on to your job after 4 months, you can say, no, I'm not doing that. It's not in my contract. They can't fire you. The labor law will be on your side. They can't get rid of you. But in a permanent job, you're stuck, because if you're a permie, you're supposed to be there 3 or 4 years. You can't job hop as a permie. They're going to be like, we don't want to take you on because you've had 7 jobs in the last 9 years. You're not going to stay long. We need 3 years to get our money back. So at least in a contract, if you're up against it or you don't like it or there's some political situation or your line manager's been replaced or whatever it is, you jump ship and go get another job. It's as easy as that. And they want to see that on your CV and LinkedIn profile, that you are going from job to job to job, gaining, cultural experience and learning software applications, the cloud, vendors, stakeholders. You're networking with different types of people, which increases your stakeholder communication abilities. Right. So how do you get consistently headhunted? Well, you need to have those 5 things dialed in. You need to set yourself up to showcase your ability to do the job, which is part of your 1-year goal. Okay, what's the biggest difficulty moving from public to private sector? It's not difficult at all. You stop applying for public sector jobs and you start applying for private sector jobs. End of. You can start by pivoting into private if they don't require much domain experience. So there are, medical is an industry. So if you're in working for a hospital for the government, coming from a carer environment or something like that, you can pivot into the healthcare sector, working for a private hospital or a whatever. Okay. Is there a risk by defining your ideal role? You could miss out on opportunities. How do you assess the feasibility of attaining? Okay. So you want to have your dream role. So you set your LinkedIn profile and CV up, showcasing your skills and transferable skills according to your 1-year goals. Okay. And if to miss out on opportunities. Okay. So I found a lot of people, they tailor their CVs when they apply for a job. And I'm like, okay. So if you apply for 20 jobs, you're not going to get many interviews. If you apply for 180 jobs, you're going to get a lot of interviews. So it's kind of a numbers game. Let me use the fishing analogy. You've got a fishing rod and line and hook and a bait. So the bait is your 2-page CV. So the goal when you apply for a job is not to get the job. Your goal when you apply for a job is not to get an interview. Your goal when you apply for a job is not to get a call with the recipient of your application. The goal when you apply for a role is to get a response. That's it. Because you've heard crickets, right? You like apply for 100 jobs and nobody replies. It's like crickets, right? You need to get a response. As soon as you get a response, so in other words, an email, because your email address on the top of your CV, a phone call, because your phone number is on the top of your CV, a LinkedIn connection request because your LinkedIn URL is in the top of your CV. As soon as you get a response, pick up the phone and call them up and say, hi, thanks for responding. Have you had the opportunity to go through my CV yet? No, not yet. Oh, wait, can I call you back in 2 hours? I'll make it 3. Phone back in 3. Hi, have you got it? Yes. Will you be putting me forward for consideration for an interview? Yes, I think so. Please don't submit that CV. I'm well aware that a tailored CV increases my chance of securing an interview. Please allow me 1 hour to tailor my CV according to the job description, not by lying, but by telling, it's a summary. I don't have all those skills. But don't apply for 100 jobs and tailor your CV every time, okay? So that's how you get rid of the risk. Thanks, Michael. Really good question, but you asked to tailor your CV, okay? All right, how to position yourself for a more senior role than your current, right? So if you're 30 plus years of age, and if you have 3 years or more experience as a business analyst, And if you have a CCBA or an ECBA, you can't have the CBAP, you need 5 years, okay? Then you can redefine yourself as a IIBA. You don't say CBAP or ECBA or CBAP, right? And if you've got CBAP, you say CBAP, right? IIBA, certified senior business analyst. Leave the contractor, because that's not part of the job title. So you just reinvent yourself. You don't have to ever have had the job title of senior business analyst. You can just call yourself a senior business analyst because of your age and your amount of years of experience, right? So there's nothing stopping you from rebranding. You can't lie on your CV to get the job, but you just, so stick at it, get experience, get certification, because that's the only two things that you need: theoretical knowledge, practical experience. Okay. How technical do you need to be to succeed as a BA? Very good question. You don't really need to be technical, but it does help, especially if you know Microsoft Office really well and you're good with computers and Windows, and you can be very fast with Word and Excel and PowerPoint and be a professional and things like that. It helps to be au fait there, but you get technical business analysts and non-technical business analysts. So if you want to be a technical business analyst, you can get technical, right, doing SQL and things, but you don't have to. So you can still be very successful in a business. I've got people who have got MBAs and PhDs. They're not technical at all, but they know business. So they quickly climb to a senior business analyst because they give high-level advice and things like that. Okay. Can years of experience help substitute for certifications? Yes, definitely. If you've got 6 or 7 or more years experience and you've been working solidly as a BA and you've got a lot of exposure to different domains, different stakeholders, and you've done a lot of those 197 techniques, then you don't need any certification. If you've got 3 or 4 years certification, experience, it really helps to increase your confidence, because then you know what business, you know what to do, why to do it, how to do it, the tools, the techniques, the strategies, the templates. You learn a lot from doing the IIBA certification course. Okay, I've answered quite a lot of questions. I'm going to carry on with the slideshow. Right, let's get going. Otherwise, we're not going to finish. Keep the questions coming. I like them. All right, next slide. In my opinion, recruiters and hiring managers are only looking at 2 things for a BA contractor. Permanent member of staff, different. They look at more things. If you want to secure a business analyst contract role of 6 months at £600 a day outside IR35 with your own limited company, you only have to convince the gatekeeper. So that's the recruitment agent if you're working through a recruiter, or the HR department if you're applying directly to the company. You only need to convince the gatekeeper of 2 things and the interviewer of 2 things, nothing else. They must like you, because if they don't like you, they're not going to work for you. They're not going to work with you. Who wants to work with horrible people? They're interviewing you. If you're horrible and you're rude and you unprofessional and you're late and you're egotistical and big-headed and you keep saying, of course, of course, of course, or obviously, 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 right, and not open to debate, they're not going to like you. They're going to choose another candidate that has applied for the job that they're interviewing that they like, so that they can get along. So that's the most important thing, in my opinion. They must like you, right? When you start your job, your line manager must like you a lot. Okay, so but just the interviewers, they just have to like you. What does that mean? They shouldn't dislike you. Because if they don't like you, if one of the interviewers, say you have 3-stage interviews, 7 people interview you in total, they have a powwow at the end and the jury's open and they decide and they ask around and one person didn't like you, and they're going to vote against you and they're going to vote and push their case to get somebody else going. So that's the most important thing. They must like you. Secondly, you must be able to do the job. That's it. So if you've got the job description, you work through the job description and you have your answers ready for questions regarding the job description that you've done in the past. And everything that you haven't done in the past, if they catch you out with a question, let's say that thing with a SQL extract and a pivot diagram in Excel and a Power BI, I've done a SQL extract, I've done Power BI, I haven't done pivot diagrams in Excel. I'm willing to learn, I'm a quick learner. You have my word. If I'm successful in my application today, I will upskill in my own time at my own cost before my start date. So you can kind of get around these, not knowing this. But that's the only two things. That's the only two things that you need to be able to secure the contract role. As I mentioned, a permanent role is going to be a different story, and a consulting role will be a different story. All right. Actionable mindset tools. So I don't know how many of you have done the 7 levels. I've seen quite a few have been submitted. So thank you for that. It wasn't the link, the calendar link. So that's the 7 levels deep. Now, let me go through and show you how that looks. So this is a completed assignment. I've just redacted the information, but as you can see, it's on one page. It's kind of like our format. This is our layout. And what happens is it helps you determine what really drives you to accomplish anything in your life. It determines your purpose. Okay. And it's kind of like an onion where we peel back the layers, and you start with the first level and you end up at 7 levels. It's 7 levels deep, and it's all about becoming successful, because that's my mission, to help business analysts become highly successful in their life and their career. Okay. So I don't know what success means to you. So we've got another one, 10 rules for success, but this also works out, what success means to you. And you dive deeper and deeper and deeper into the 7 levels deep. So the answer to the question before becomes the question itself. So why is it important? What is important to you about becoming successful? Okay. Becoming financially dependent and securing my family future, building long-term rapport with diverse people, and directing my own consulting business. So there's a few, so you can choose one of them and put it as part of your 2. Why is it important for you to direct your own consulting firm? It is important because it provides a lot of freedom to be my own boss and to secure lucrative contracts. Okay, so you can see there, be their own boss and secure lucrative contracts was the answer from this level, and that becomes the question for the next level. And we dive deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's where we figure out your purpose. What is your purpose? Because in your 1-year goals, okay, so if you have your 1-year goals set up, I've noticed that people are more driven by getting out of pain than they are by achieving goals and rewards. So it's my job, I feel, to put you in pain, to show you where you are. I mean, you're in a horrible place, because I'm sure you know the analogy of the donkey cart with the carrot, where the man sits in there, and the donkey keeps moving forward to get the carrot and pulls the cart along, never gets the carrot. Your vision board is the carrot, right? But if you're in pain, it's more of a bigger driving force to get you out of that pain. So that's kind of like what we look at. All right, let me get back to the presentation. Let's go and have a look at the next one. So this is basically from our pillar 1, from the 4 pillars from our gold mentoring program. There's 8 mindset tools, 7 levels deep, who I am and what I do, 10 rules for success. As I mentioned, I know I'm successful when the clarity tool, the needle move is the one big thing, and it ends with the vision board. So this is to get you in the right positive mindset, the right can-do attitude, because once you've got the right mindset and the right attitude, you feel that shift from being a lack of confidence to being confident to being a person of authority. All right. This is my vision board from 2022. So pillar 1 culminates in your vision board. It's 10 goals and 4 rewards. Now, I want to explain something which I've learned recently, and I don't know if I'm going to take any more questions, but we'll see. How do you attain your 1-year goals in your vision board? Well, what you do, I'm going to show you my new one. This is my new one for this year. How do you attain your goals in your vision board by the end of the year? Well, try and get them in 10 months. So then you've always got a month extra if you didn't get the 1 or 2, and then you've got another month extra on the 1 or 2. So let's take something, a goal. So if you look at I want to live in a big house. I bought this motorbike today. So one of my goals have come true. It's a small motorbike. It's my 6th one. It's a BMW. I want to buy this car. I've never been in a limo. I want to get my son his Dutch passport and fly to Holland with him. This is holistic wellness, which is part of BAM Platinum, which we're busy developing. This is my son, Gordon Flumello. This is myself. And this is what I'm busy doing. So the way to attain what's on your vision board is you need clear action steps on what to do to achieve your goals. I didn't get what was on everything on my vision board 2022 because I didn't set out clear action steps to attain those goals. And it also helps if you have an accountability partner. Okay. Right, let's go and have a look now at one of our other assignments that we do. We also offer a free CV review. So part of the gap analysis is to be able to determine your current state, right? So part of that is now to do your CV review. So if you've got a CV review, this is another free service that we offer. Remember the gap analysis quiz? This is free. And then the CV review, this is free as well for the meantime. Okay. So again, there's a little video, 2.5 minutes. It gives you a little bit about your CV, not such a long page, not one of these long-winded. All you do is upload your CV. That's if you've got a Google account. If you don't, you can just email it to me. And then together with your gap analysis and your detailed CV review, I'd be able to get a good, clear picture of where you are now, where you want to be, and then we hop on a career strategy session. So on our website, you say book, or LinkedIn message me and say you need the links, or send me your CV via an email. So the CV review is a detailed 2-page CV review. Okay, I'm sure you know about ATS by now, applicant tracking system. 70% of CVs get kicked out by the ATS. So if you're applying for 100 jobs, your CV is not ATS compliant or ATS aware, none of them will reach the intended, well, 30% will reach the intended recipient. The rest will be thrown out by ATS. So this is a manual process that we use to review your CV about absolutely everything on your CV. And we look at your LinkedIn profile and see if it's in alignment. And then we pass it through ATS and send you the ATS results as well. And we help you to improve your CV. And we say, these are pointers, try do this, and do all of these things. Okay. I just want to add one more. Did I have another one? Let me just see. We also have a sneak peek. If you're interested in gold, you can do our sneak peek. So it starts with ask me for the registration link. It's all good. Benefits to gain. It starts with a video, 32 minutes, everything that's in gold. And then we have some case studies of some of the past gold masterminds. This is a 32-minute video. There are 22 gold masterminds that have completed the course. They all speak for 90 seconds. If you like any of them, then go down and watch their full testimonial. Again, this is free. And then you can start with the actual program itself, and you can start with the 4 mindset tools leading up to your vision board. So it's 7 levels deep, who I am, 10 rules for success, one of my favorites, and I know I'm successful when. So that is basically, I'm not sharing my screen.
No, not at the moment.
I'm not sharing my screen. I do apologize. Let me start again. I haven't gone too far. So benefits to gain. And now what have I done? Okay. I do apologize. I thought I was sharing my screen. Okay. The Gold Sneak Peek tells you everything about the Gold Mentoring Program. Benefits to gain, 32-minute video, everything about gold. The testimonial collection, you can see 22 of our gold masterminds that have finished the course. It's 90-second excerpts from their testimonial videos in a compilation. They each speak for 90 seconds. If you like, or one of them resonate with you, go and watch their entire testimonial. It's about 10 minutes. I know Frank's got a 32-minute one. Somebody else has got a long one as well. And then you can actually start with the Gold Mentoring Program already by doing 4 of the mindset assignments. 7 levels deep, who I am, 10 rules, one of my favorites, and I know I'm successful when. And I've got some good news because we are offering a discount to anybody who has stayed this long and hasn't gone away yet. So we're offering a 20% discount. We never, ever offer discounts. Okay, I have to repeat that, but as a favor to Adriana and Christina Tan, the president of the IIBA UK and the treasurer, I'm pleased to announce that if you want to invest in this, when the time comes to make a payment, then you just say IIBA UK and you get 20% off our bronze and our gold gold includes all of bronze and all of silver and a whole lot more. Bronze is the beginning step. Gold is you'll be a VIP. We're on WhatsApp. I don't want to go through it. There's a video on that, but those are our programs. And included in gold, get you headhunted consistently. This is very high level, so it's not about much. You can schedule a free breakthrough session, career strategy session, goal discovery session, and 20% off our bronze and gold. What I'm going to do now is take a few questions. I'm going to read the questions, and I'm going to hand you back over to Adriana while I read the questions.
And Mark, there are a few questions in the chat as well, outside of the Q&A, in case you have time.
Okay, question. I'm just going to read them bottom up. How much does it cost? Bronze is $297, silver is $597. We don't disclose the price of gold because you don't know what's included. So the best is to get a free call, do the CV review, gap analysis, give it a discussion, and then we'll talk about that. Yes, we do have payment plans. We've got easy payment plans where you can pay it off. And it's not with a third party. It's not with Klarna or PayPal or anything like that. It's with our company directly. Because if you don't make your payment, I'm not going to come knock on your door with the police and get you locked up. We just leave you off the course. We've had over 900 people enroll in bronze. We've had 114 enroll in gold. We got a full 14-day money-back guarantee. Out of the 114 people that have enrolled in gold, 0 people have asked for their money back. So I over-deliver, I make sure, and I'm really big on success rate. So my success rate for doubling people's in the sales pitch, let's call it, right? I state categorically and I guarantee what I'll be able to do for you. And if you're going to pivot from perm to contracting, usually I double or sometimes triple your salary. The record is 405%, where I got somebody from 220 to 800 and what does he earn? 850. I'm not exactly sure how much he earns, but that's an amazing jump from 220 to 850. My success rate is 94%. And that's what we focus on. We focus on success because it doesn't help somebody come to us and then we say, yes, we can do this, this, and then they don't do that. So my goal is to be the best business analyst mentor in the universe. And to do that, I need to know who all my competitors are, and I do. And I've been through all their courses, and most of them focus on theoretical knowledge. They try and get you certification or training. I don't even focus that. In the gap analysis, if I see you need theoretical information, I send you over, and Adriana will be able to sort you out from there. Okay. Can you please post the website here? Thank you. Yes, I can. So let me just do that quickly. I'm going to launch the website. And I'm just going to copy these links out. That was a good idea, actually, to post them here. CV review is there. Gap analysis is, I've started it, so it's got some extensions, copy. So you can all just click it and save it in your browser with Control-D. And then the gold sneak peek, you need to register. I'm not sure what the registration link is here. And the 7 levels deep assignment is here. Copy. Petra, I know you're on the call. Can you please post the sneak peek URL for them to register for the sneak peek? I don't know if Petra's dropped off yet. Shame. I hope she's still on the call because I don't think I've got the link to the sneak peek registration. I've got the actual sneak peek, but I don't have the registration. So maybe Petra will do that. Right. Let me read some more questions. Somebody pasted that looks like Petra because it's got that little star. Sneak peek. There we go. Petra's already posted it. Thank you, Petra. Let's go through the questions. I'm wary of the time. And here's a nice long one. I'm an expat working on a global mobility visa and looking for a job that offers sponsorship. Unfortunately, we do not assist with sponsorship. You need to live in the UK, USA, Canada, Australia, or South Africa. Having worked over 15 years as a contractor, what are the challenges you encountered and how did you surmount them? I'm not going to go into that right now, okay? What if you're a BA seeking to take on a new role as a PM? How would you create a CV that reflects this when you have not held the position before? Okay, you can't, okay? So What we're talking about is pivoting. So pivoting from business analyst into something else, or something else into business analysis. That's not covered in this webinar. We're only interested in business analysts, aren't we, Adriana? We're not helping people who want to become project managers. I mean, that's counterintuitive. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Welcome from Winnipeg. How can business... Okay, this is a question from Kurian. How can business analysts make consistent career progress when their current role consumes most of their time and energy, especially in organizations without a well-defined growth plan? Leave the role, secure another role. Okay, if you're not happy in your role, and it takes planning, people, you can't just resign and then just start finding another role. You need to, first do your goal setting. Then you need to define your unique selling proposition. What have you got that you can offer a company as far as benefits goes? And then you need to rewrite your CV and LinkedIn profile in alignment with your one-year goals so that you attract those goals. Okay. Then you need to find jobs, apply for jobs, attend interviews, negotiate offers, secure a start date, hand in your resignation, request testimonials. It's quite a process. So you can either do it on your own by just winging it. But what I've noticed is most business analysts are really good at what they do, but they're rubbish at recruitment. They don't know how to promote themselves correctly. And that's where I step in. I'm going to end it there, Adriana. I'll leave it up to you again.
Hey, Mark, thank you so much for your advice and your input tonight, because these are the kind of questions that at the IBA UK, especially in face-to-face events, we always get many of these questions, and we are not in a position exactly to support with the recruitment side of it. So thank you so much. It's been really helpful, very insightful. And I trust that everybody has the links. What we can do is after the session, we can also send the links via email to people who signed up for the session. And the recording will be available as well in a couple of days later, the most. And I would like to thank you, Mark, again for your input, for taking the time to be with us. Everyone who has signed up to the session, and if you would like, if there is anything else we can further look or support on the AIBA website, just keep in touch, send us a message, send us an email, find us on LinkedIn, and we take from there, and we try to support as we can. So thank you, everyone. And I wish that wherever you are, you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening further. Bye for now.